Hey everybody, I'm John Child Cruise Addicts, and we're here to talk about Viking's new itineraries. We're going to get Michael Consoli here in a second, and we're going to talk all about these amazing itineraries that are coming in 2026 and 27. They're really amazing. We can't wait to show you these amazing itineraries here. Hi, Michael. How are you doing today?
Good, John. How are you?
Yeah, we were just talking before we went live that a lot of these are available in 2027, and I think you said one was available as soon as 2026.
Yes, one of them is available. There are actually several new itineraries that Viking has put together, especially for 27 and 28. Many of them are back-to-back sailings, which they put together to make one longer sailing. So yeah, there's some pretty neat itineraries.
That's very exciting. We got a lot of people watching, and I know they've been excited. I appreciate everybody watching today. We kind of had a change up with as far as the time, but I think it actually made our audience a little bigger. So it's kind of like you're like one of those hard acts that kind of canceled, and then now the wait made people want you more. So as far as seeing Michael and talking about these great itineraries,
yeah.
But okay, so what can we start out with first here? I think we'll start off with one moment here, the Grand Mediterranean. Believe it is. Yep. So the new Grand Mediterranean Explorer, it's not just a short cruise. It's 36 days, 29. It includes 29 guided tours, and you'll hit 10 countries. That's all, right, Michael?
Yeah, this is Istanbul to Lisbon or Lisbon to Istanbul. It is offered in 27 and 28. It is a super nice itinerary, 35 nights or 36 days. It is the combination, I think, of 4 sailings. So very nice. It's a very nice itinerary. It basically does the entire Mediterranean.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, I love Portugal, Barcelona, of course. I mean, such amazing places you get to see. What's your favorite ports? Some of the favorite ports and stops here that on this itinerary that you could point out to us?
Well, Ephesus, of course, Kusadasi, Turkey, really a nice port. Any of the ports in Croatia, like Split and Dubrovnik, Kotor. I like all, Montenegro. That's a very nice part of the world to see. Of course, I'm Italian, so I love all of the Italian ports. If somebody asks me, where's your favorite place to go? It's always Italy. But this also includes Monte Carlo and Marseille, Barcelona. So it even goes to Morocco. So that's pretty nice. It's a very nice itinerary. Again, these are back-to-back sailings. So when you look at the map, if you see on the map the itineraries where the white ports are, those are the overnights. So you're going to have an overnight stay in those ports. So that is really nice. And this itinerary, it overnights in Istanbul, overnights in Athens, overnights in Venice, overnights in Florence, overnights in Barcelona. So very nice.
Yeah, and I kind of jumped in pretty fast today, and I didn't have any coffee or anything, but I want to obviously welcome everybody watching. Obviously, I have Michael Consoli. He's the top seller of Viking cruises. He sells more Viking cruises than anyone in the entire world, and he's sharing today the Viking's new itineraries. Viking's come out with and obviously these are ocean itineraries as well, because Viking, of course, does river cruises, expedition cruises, and of course, ocean. So it's very exciting for people that follow Viking. We've got one of the largest Viking cruise groups on the internet right now with Facebook. So we'd love you to join that too. But if you're watching, please check in. One of the big things that we do here is this is interactive, and I know there's got a lot of people watching. We appreciate those thumbs ups and hearts and everything, but please just check in and tell us about what your upcoming cruise is with Viking or any cruise. We don't discriminate here. We're obviously cruise addicts. And Michael's going to go into more detail. This is the first one, and we're going to cover a couple other ones. And we love your feedback. And of course, afterwards, Michael's going to take any of your questions. We're focusing on Viking today, but any type of cruise travel related question, we'd love to answer it. And it's this interactivity that makes this so much special. I'm going to put Michael's information down below if you'd like to reach out to him. If you like how he answers the questions and covers things, he'd love to have you as a client as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So the other interesting part about these sailings being back-to-backs is that the ship usually overnights in the embarkation-disembarkation ports. So, but these ports also where guests may be getting on in the middle of your sailing because you're on the longer sailing. Many of the questions that I get are about how how the excursions are handled. Because when guests go in that are on these back-to-backs, go into My Viking Journey to book the excursions, there's not necessarily excursions listed for the day where the ship is in turnaround mode, where the guests are getting on and off for embarkation and disembarkation.
Yeah.
Those excursions typically are handled on board the ship for those guests that are in transit or that are continuing on the sailing. So that's just an interesting part of how they handle excursions on these sailings. So, but it is a really nice itinerary. Again, it's 35 nights, so it is considered a grand voyage. Grand voyages do have different terms and conditions for payments and things like that. So it's important to note that the final payment for this sailing will follow the general final payment schedule, or what we call the promotional final payment date, based on when you book the sailing, just because it is a grand voyage.
That's amazing. Is there any pre or post stays that you can book, or is anything included like that?
Oh yeah, well there are pre and post available on all of these itineraries. So this particular one has a pre in Lisbon or post in Cappadocia, which is very popular. The post in Cappadocia would, it actually, you stay in a cave hotel in Cappadocia, so it's a very unique experience. They also offer 2 nights post in Istanbul, and then there is like a guided tour, a 3-night guided tour, the best of Istanbul, which includes a lot of touring as well.
And, for the people that might be new to Viking, can you talk about the overnight stays? I mean, a lot of cruise lines, a traditional cruise line might be there for a short period of time, but here Vikings actually has overnight stays. And can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, where they are able to do an overnight, they will negotiate with the port to do that. Viking's whole thing is for you to experience the most while you're in port and have that destination immersion experience. So those overnights really contribute to that, and it is an important component of what Viking offers their guests. Like John said, most cruise lines will just be there from like 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Or something like that. But this itinerary and many of the Viking itineraries offer overnights in several more popular ports, and it allows the guests to be off the ship and explore, even have dinner off the ship and come back to the ship later, things like that. And it also gives them, 2 days in port to explore all those things. There's a lot to see in Rome and in Florence, Barcelona, and it can't always be done in just one day. So it's really nice that they offer these overnights.
And that's the same in river cruises and expedition a lot of times. Is that correct?
It is correct, yes, especially river.
And I think it also helps with the tempo, as far as someone that might be used to a traditional ocean cruise. A lot of times it feels things are a little rushed the first day you get on board and so on and so forth. This actually kind of is more relaxing. Is that correct too?
Yeah, for sure. It lets you be a little bit more leisure. So yeah, leisurely. So it is nice for sure.
Okay. Yeah, like we said, folks, please don't be shy. Please check in with us. Let us know when your upcoming cruise is. Let us know what you think of Viking. And of course, we're going to have that Q&A once we get through these itineraries. And we're going to answer you. Michael's going to answer your cruise questions. This is your chance to talk to one of the top producing agents, or actually the top producing agent for Viking and many other lines. If you have a travel-related question, could be on insurance, itineraries, anything like that, please let us know with your questions. And we're going to go on to the next one. And it looks like the new Scandinavia and Baltic capitals. It's 15 days, 10 guided tours in 8 countries. And this looks amazing as well.
Yeah, this itinerary also offers some overnights, which is really nice. It's 14 nights, 15 days from from Oslo to Copenhagen, or Copenhagen to Oslo. So it's a really nice itinerary. It overnights in Copenhagen, Stockholm, Riga, and Latvia. So it's very nice, this itinerary. And a lot of guests want to spend more time in the Baltic. So this actually gives them that opportunity. And I know that, Viking Homeland itinerary is probably the most popular Baltic itinerary. This one visits a few other stops that are not included in that. And it also, gives an alternative to the Viking Homelands itinerary, which is the same number of nights.
And am I correct? This part of the world isn't really. There's not a lot of many cruises that go here, or itineraries that go here with any cruise lines. Is that correct?
No, I mean there are a lot of cruise ships that do, Northern Europe. It's just that the larger ships, the mainstream lines, some of them can't get into some of these smaller ports. So, these ships that are 934 passengers, the newer ones being slightly larger than that. I think they're 990 passengers, but they're able to get into these areas, into some of these smaller ports. So that is the draw, obviously. So very nice itinerary, which also offers pre and post extensions. This itinerary offers a 2-night pre in Oslo or a 2-night post in Copenhagen.
And I'd have to ask, what cities here stand out for you that as far as highlights, as far as if someone taking this cruise that.
Yeah, I think that going to Tallinn, Estonia, getting to Lithuania is very nice too. And Visby, very nice port. So these are less traveled ports. I really think that guests would really enjoy this, being able to go to Finland. It's a really nice itinerary.
I imagine you'd feel like an explorer going to these unique small ports that aren't frequent by the big ships.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of the ships go to Gdansk and go to Copenhagen and to Stockholm, but then the rest of the ports on here are pretty, not on the normal itineraries.
Yeah, the times I've done things like that, it always feels different. You feel it makes the voyage feel more special.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we're going to move on to our next itinerary. Let's see what this is. New from Iberia to the Northern Lights. And I know a lot of people love Northern Lights cruises. This one's only 20 days, 11 guided tours in 4 countries. But wow, that's of course I'm being facetious here. But
yeah, no, this itinerary is a combination of 2 itineraries, I believe. And so it leaves from Barcelona and then goes all the way up to Norway. It's really a really nice itinerary. It's offered in the winter months. So this is offered in January of 27 and January of 28. So it's definitely a quiet season, but it's also going to be pretty cold, right? Because guests on this itinerary are going to want to see the Northern Lights. This is when the ship is transitioning from Barcelona to do the Northern Light sailings for the season. So that's why you have these 2 sailings, Barcelona to Tromsø. They also have a couple of overnights as well, and it looks like. Actually, no, it doesn't have an overnight. I thought it had an overnight in Barcelona, but it doesn't overnight at any of the ports. So this would be a nice itinerary. They do have some pre and post extensions available. Barcelona pre. There's also a Best of Barcelona, which is a fully guided extension, 3 nights in Barcelona with tours and meals. And then the Madrid pre, which is 2 nights. And then there's also a post available in Tromsø, which is 2 nights. So very nice itinerary.
Yeah, it's hopefully everybody can see okay. I think because this covers such a large amount of ground, or miles, it's a little harder to see in this map. But hopefully y'all can see. Please give us a comment that you can see it, so we know that we'd appreciate the feedback. Wow, so many people watching and talking about these exciting itineraries. We're talking about itineraries coming in 2026 and 2027 for Viking. Yeah. And is that correct, Michael?
Yes, 20. Well, this one is offered 2027 and 2028. Okay. I go back a second and say that I was certain that they overnighted somewhere, and it actually does. It overnights in Norway, the 2 Norway ports, Alta and Tromsø. It does overnight in both of those. It
is a little hard to see, but of course, we're doing this live right now. All of our live streams are of course recorded, and you can watch them back as far as a replay on YouTube, and Facebook might be taking them off, the older ones off. I'm hearing they keep pushing it back, but you can always rewatch these at your convenience. Or if we cover something and you want to share it with someone else, or just refresh your memory on certain things. But yeah. And what I was all going to say is you can obviously go to the Viking website right now, pull this up, do a little search, and you can see different things in more detail while we're talking about it. And of course, might be a question, because we've got the expert of experts with Viking here. So feel free to do some research.
Yeah, and what's interesting about this, and I think aside from the fact that you would absolutely have the opportunity to see the Northern Lights, especially all the way up at these higher ports in Norway, you also can spend the night with the Huskies or go to the Igloo Hotel, things like that. So it's a really some unique experiences. So. Even they have an excursion where you can go see the Northern Lights and also take in a private recital while you're looking at the Northern Lights at night. So very cool itinerary.
Yeah, what an amazing itinerary. You start in Barcelona, is that correct?
Yes.
And then before you know it, you're in the most northern part of the world, and
Yeah.
get to see Scotland and London on the way. I mean, just amazing. Really amazing. To me, this is a real adventure. I think that's what makes some of the Viking itineraries so special. You really do feel like you're an explorer doing an adventure, making a trip of a lifetime.
Yeah, I agree. Very nice itinerary and unique. So if you're looking for something to do in the winter that is going to be cold, but still have the opportunity to have some unique experiences, this is a great choice for that.
My wife would love that because she can buy new boots and jackets and hats and all those, special things. And I'm sure plenty of people are watching. This is a good shopping opportunity to go explore, and for a trip of a lifetime, right? And of course, with Viking, some cruise lines, like I said, we talked about big ships. They can't go to these places. Here you have the ocean cruises, the spas included. There's only 900 or so passengers, right? We've talked about the numbers have changed a little bit. But every cabin's an outside cabin with a balcony or a suite, right?
Exactly. So there are no interior or ocean view cabins. There are really no obstructed view cabins per se. So it's all balcony, and then they have veranda, deluxe veranda, penthouse junior suite. Then they have several different explorer suites, and then of course the owner's suite, which is super nice.
Yeah, and of course, the Viking experience is an inclusive experience. So where a lot of the other cruise lines, quote from the chairman of Viking, nickel and dime you or fleece you, Viking doesn't do that. The a la carte things are affordable compared to other lines, and beer and wine's included with lunch and dinner, and the drink package is actually very affordable, right? And all these other things are included. You have the 11 guided tours, so those are included. Where many lines don't have things included. And of course, you have many optional tours that just make the experience even more special, because some of those things are kind of very unique, right? But they're available to guests to make their special, like I said, this trip even more special. That's what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to go to our final itinerary. That new one. It's going to be New Gems of the Mediterranean, 15 days, 11 guided tours in 5 countries. This looks incredible as well.
Yeah, very nice that it visits our Sardinia and Palermo, Sicily. So it's a really nice itinerary. Also with a couple overnights, one in Barcelona and the other in Florence. So that's a great choice for guests that are just looking for the Circle Mediterranean itinerary, 14 nights, 15 days. It goes to a lot of the majors and then some very unique like Tunisia, Sardinia, and Sicily.
Yeah, when I looked at it, I was like, oh, that's really unique. Tunisia is really unique to go. I don't think I've seen one go there before.
Yeah, the Malta, Morocco, and the Med itinerary goes to Tunis. So yeah, it's pretty neat. So we were just there actually in March with a group that I had.
So I've got to ask my same question here. What port cities here does it stand out to you that stops that, and maybe even some tours and special things that guests watching, potential guests watching might want to?
Yeah, I love Sicily. So I think we even started out with that, right? So anywhere in Italy. So that's a really nice port. Also, being able to go to Amalfi from Salerno is a really special day for sure. So I guess I always want to experience that driving the Amalfi Coast, things like that. So really nice itinerary. And then of course, Sardinia is beautiful as well. So there's a lot to do there, and being able to see different parts of the Mediterranean. So a really nice itinerary.
Wow. Okay, so we've covered 4 amazing upcoming Viking ocean cruises. Do you want to cover any other cruises or itineraries that are things that you may have not have covered yet?
Well, I just want to mention that there are some combination ocean and river cruises that seem to sell pretty quickly. So those are some other back-to-backs that can be done that way. And of course, the expedition ships have their back-to-backs as well, which guests can put together and make longer sailings. Or Viking sells as a longer sailing. So it's definitely something to look at. And I think when you're investing the money to go on vacation, for those guests that can do more than 7 days or 15 days, creating these back-to-back voyages is something that ends up being a good value to the guests because they're saving money. The cost per day is lower, obviously, on the longer sailings than the shorter sailings. So there's a definite value built into that, and of course the value that you discussed, which is beer and wine with lunch and dinner, complimentary Wi-Fi, complimentary bottled water, an included excursion in every port. Those are a value that really is unmatched in the industry. There, you can go higher to other lines that are going to include everything, all beverages, all excursions, that kind of thing, or you can go to another line that might be a little bit less inclusive, that may just include beer and wine with lunch and dinner, but nothing else. So it is a sweet spot, I think, for most people to have those inclusions, and I think it's one of the reasons that the Viking value is so appealing to most guests.
Right, and obviously we cover these new itineraries for 26 and 27, 28. What's the incentive to book them now if they can? Is that correct? Anybody that watching this right now, and we're of course August 17th of 2025, if they wanted to book it now, could they? And how would they do that? And is there any incentives that they could use right now?
Yeah, well, I want to preface this by saying that my team and I work very hard to make sure our guests always get the lowest price. So we make ourselves very aware of all the promotions, so that when we see a promotion that might apply to a guest booking, that we investigate that and see if we can get it applied even to existing bookings. So we investigate and make sure that our guests are always getting the lowest price, but we do make ourselves aware of all of the current promos and make sure that our guest is getting the most out of booking with us. And that means making sure that we take advantage of every opportunity to save them money or get them an onboard credit or a value add or save them money on air. And so that is really important to us to make sure that our guest is getting the best price. But currently, the best promos offer some specific promo codes that are offering up to 35% off the cruise fare, 2-for-1 airfare. It varies by sailing and by date. So, the guests, what we have found is that the guests that booked earlier in the year with some of the promos that were available then actually have better promotions than what we have today. But this tends to happen as we get closer to a sailing date. The promos tend to be less significant. But currently, the current promo, which is also very good, allows the guests to save up to 35%. Also has 2-for-1 air on many of the itineraries. And when the cruise line says 2-for-1, they mean that the airfare is $1,500, and that 2-for-1 means that the guest is going to pay $750 each for that airfare. So the air that we see on the Viking website may be that up to, quote unquote, up to 2-for-1 airfare. But it is still a very good time to book. Past guests especially are getting a double past guest discount. So if they're entitled to $100 off, they're actually getting $200 off. And if they're entitled to $200 off because of how close they booked to their last sailing, then they're getting $400 off. So that current promotion is still very good, very different from the ones we had last month and the month before, but still adding great value to any of the sailings that we look at for our guests.
And do they still have a reduced deposit?
They do. Currently, the deposit is $25 per person, and that applies to most all sailings except for world cruises.
Okay, so if I called you up right now at 1-800-913-7245 and said, Michael, I want to book this, the Gems of the Mediterranean or one of these amazing itineraries or any of the other Viking cruises, how would that go about? And when would final payment be due?
So final payment follows a promotional schedule that they have based on the booking year. And so typically, as we all know, Viking collects their final payments a year to 18 months in advance, sometimes slightly closer in. And there are some exceptions to that for guests that already have an existing booking, but the majority of guests are going to pay a year to 18 months in advance. But they still have until 4 months prior to departure to cancel and get everything back but $100 per person. The exception to that are the grand voyages and the world cruises. They do have stricter penalties for cancellation, which brings me to something I want to mention. The world cruise for 2027-2028 just came out last week too. So another new itinerary, which has a lot of benefits, significant onboard credits, like $5,000 per person, plus our guests receive an additional onboard credit between $1,000 and $2,000 for onboard credit for world cruises. Very nice itinerary again. And this year starts after Christmas. I think it starts in 2027. You have the option of starting on, I think, December 28th after Christmas, or from Fort Lauderdale, or leaving from LA just after the first of the year, which is also very nice. And it is offered in several different lengths, including, ending in London or going on to Bergen on another sailing, or Copenhagen. It ends, there's a Scandinavia component that can be added to the world cruise at the end. So there's a lot of options there. And if anyone's considering the world cruise, it's definitely a good time to book and get that savings that they're offering. The earlier you book the world cruise itineraries, the better the pricing. So we highly encourage guests to do that. There's also an early payment discount. So if you pay the November of the previous year or the year prior, if you pay in November the year prior to your departure, there's an additional savings, I believe, of $2,000 per person. But the final payment for world cruise guests can be in May before the departure. And but then those guests don't have that extra early payment savings. So there's a lot of options when it comes to the world cruise that you really should have an agent explain to you, and make sure you're getting the best deal, make sure you're getting the best onboard credit offers, all of that stuff. So we just we highly recommend working with a travel agent, hopefully with us, to help you plan that world cruise. But it's a great itinerary, which I know has already sold very well for them.
So thank you for covering that. Now, I was looking at the group recently, so I'm kind of just going to steer to this. And I see so many people talking about, I have someone basically on a call center that I talk to, and they're my person or whatever like that. And it's great that they're happy with them. But what's the advantages of dealing with a travel agent, like you said, an independent agent that just focuses on cruise? Obviously, you're very successful. You sell more Viking than anyone else and many other lines. And for people that don't know, Michael was inducted into the Cruise Line Industry Association's Hall of Fame because of his accolades and great customer service to his clients. What is the advantages of someone that says, I'm used to dealing with my agent through a call center or so on and so forth directly with the cruise line, or what's the advantage of working with you?
Well, the first thing is that you're not going to get a call center, right? So I do have myself and a team that work for me that assist all of our guests with questions and changes and payments and all of that stuff. So when you call, you're going to get a live person. You're not going to get a menu of options to choose from. So you will get a live person on the phone. If you call after hours and leave a message, we tend to call right back. As long as it's a reasonable time. And we do handle emergency calls. So we are the safety net when somebody is traveling and they get stuck somewhere. There's an option that we offer to call us and reach us at any time of day in order to handle those travel emergencies. So, but the biggest benefit, I think, is to our guests, aside from the fact we're going to add value, right? We're going to have an onboard credit gift. We're going to have something that's going to add value to the sailing. The biggest benefit, I think, is the knowledge that we offer our clients and the service that we offer. We're able to provide guests things outside of what Viking provides. We're able to compare it to another cruise line or give them our experience. Whereas when you call into Viking, they're by the way, I say this all the time, they have some of the best trained res agents in the industry, but they're only allowed to sell inside that box. They're only allowed to sell inside the Viking box. They can't provide an alternative for insurance. They can't provide an alternative for hotel or for air or anything like that. So the only thing you can buy from them are the components that Viking sells, and they're not going to, really give you the full information of what their guests' experiences are, or our experiences with different itineraries, different lines, different ships, that kind of thing. We're able to provide that. I personally have been on over 300 cruises all over the world, so I'm able to give my guests firsthand experiences and comparisons with different types of cruise experiences, and I think that's really important to the guest to be able to make an educated decision. So if you know what you want and you don't have any questions, and you don't need a lot of hand-holding, then calling Viking directly or the cruise line directly might be the best choice for you. But if you're looking for somebody that's going to be able to provide you with the right answers in a timely manner and help you muddle through problems and get through the things that the challenges that might come up when with travel, then you need to work with a seasoned travel agency. And that's something that we really pride ourselves on, is the service we provide our guests and helping them find the perfect trip, helping them plan the best way to get there and how to get home, and providing them, the service when there's a failure on some part of that. If there's, the flight's canceled or they need transportation or something like that, that's what we're here for. We're able to help them navigate that.
And a big part of this is actually, I know we see this on the groups all the time, is helping the client and upfront with their airfare, because we're literally traveling all across the world in some cases just to get to a ship that's going to take you around the world, right?
Right, exactly. So the airfare is a huge component. It's one of the biggest challenges that we have, I think, because it's something that is not always in our control, whereas a lot of the things that we deal with every day are in our control. Things that we pick the right cabin, we pick the right itinerary, we help the guests pick the right excursion, all of that stuff. But the air, for most people, it's very frightening because it's not in our control. Only the airline has control of that. Sometimes the weather has control of that. So it can be very frustrating. It is the least favorite part of what we do every day, but it is a component that we feel is very important to get right for our clients. So we spend a lot of time doing that.
And the big people who watch this might be saying, well, Michael is very successful. I'd like to work with him, but it's got to cost me extra, or it cost me more. Is that what do you say to that?
Yeah, so it's never going to cost you more because, and some agencies do charge fees. We do not charge a fee. We never charge our client any fees. It just is not something that I believe in doing. So we will never charge a fee to our guests. The services that we offer are, they don't have a cost. The value that we add, I think, is really the most important thing. And so really they're getting a better deal working with us than they would be directly with the cruise line. And the cruise line pays us to make the sale, obviously. So booking directly, they're leaving that money with the cruise line instead of providing it to a small business and the team that I work with. So that's something to keep in mind. But I think that our guests that work with us are very grateful that they found us and happy with our service. All of our business basically is repeat and referral, and we find that our guests are our best advertisers. So
there's someone that might be watching this on a replay or just live here. What's the best way to actually reach out to you and ask you a question over the phone or do business with you on an upcoming cruise?
However people are comfortable, by email or by phone. That's I answer emails right away, and I think that and calls too. So we're very responsive. I don't like to let people wait. So whatever's easiest for them, to call us at 800-913-7245 or email me at michael@planmycruise.com.
Right. And so now we're going to go. Thank you for sharing all that. I know we kind of went deep on that, but those all things are really important. And I know a lot of people are watching, and I wanted to cover some of those things because a day doesn't go by that people don't ask these questions on these groups and chat boards and so on and so forth. So we're going to get to the comments finally here. I thank you all for participating. This makes our day. This makes this interactive. It makes it fun and enjoyable. And I hope you're all having a great time. If you're liking everything that we're sharing, please give us a thumbs up, like, share. Be great. So we have Michael. We got Tammy checking in from Facebook. She says hello, Tammy Reddick.
Hey, thanks for being here.
See, she looks like she's shaving, waving a Canadian flag.
Yeah.
And Susan said from YouTube, she goes, "Hey guys, thanks for doing this." And she had a question. Well, I might have to follow it up, Suzanne. She was saying, is it something available in the quiet season? But I'm not sure which one of the four.
I, I just based on the time that the text was made, is probably during the one we were talking about, the Grand Mediterranean.
Right.
Yeah, so it is not available in quiet season. The earliest part is March, I believe, March of 2027 and 2028. But the quiet season typically is what Suzanne is referring to is normally like November through February. So the first sailing, Suzanne, would be in March.
Okay, and Jeanette is checking in from YouTube. She goes, she's going on a river cruise in October. So it sounds amazing.
Lyon to Avignon, very nice itinerary. So yeah, congratulations.
And Iris Perry is checking in from Facebook. She goes, are there ones for solo travelers? That's a great question. I know solo traveling's really picking up these days.
Yeah, it is a great question. And, like most cruise lines, Viking does charge a single supplement, typically 100%. Unfortunately, there are some exceptions to that where we see the single supplement at 75 or 50%. We would love to see it at 0%, but unfortunately, like most lines, they do charge a single supplement. But there will be some promotions, or are some promotions on sailings, Iris, that may have a 50% supplement. Certainly we keep a list of guests that are single, guests that are traveling, and try to make them aware of those sailings when we see them.
So should someone like Iris or anyone else watching that's a potential solo traveler that's looking for those opportunities, should they reach out to you so they can get on that list?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a form on our website you can complete to let us know that you're a single traveler, a solo traveler, and we will keep you on that list.
Right. And Linda says, looks like a great itinerary. I think that might have been the Grand Mediterranean.
Yes.
And
thanks for being here, Linda.
Yeah, Joanna checked in. The iconic Mediterranean as a single travel. I need to short ocean trips, she says.
Yeah, so Iconic Western is a really nice itinerary. Rome to Barcelona or Barcelona to Rome, 7 nights. So yeah, it's a great itinerary. It's funny that you say that, Joanna, because the Grand Mediterranean, when we were discussing, really is a combination of several shorter trips. So if a part of that appeals to you, there's definitely an opportunity to take that.
And Linda from Facebook saying, can you get to Pompeii? So guessing.
Yeah, so Linda, you can get to Pompeii from Florence. It's an excursion from Florence, and I believe the itinerary when we were looking at that Grand Mediterranean, when you asked this question, it overnights there, so you would definitely have time to do that.
That's excellent. All right. Oh, so Joanna Mullins, I know she's here regularly. Good to see you, Joanne. She was, I'm on my way to the airport to fly to Iceland.
Okay, Joanne, I hope you have a wonderful time, and I am certain that they're going to give you the award for being the most traveled passenger on board, because every time I travel with Joanne, she's the most traveled person on board. So,
and I got to thank you. Cruise Addicts also thanks you because you're very dedicated to our live streams, and of course, a wonderful client of Michael's, and we really appreciate you being here.
Yeah, I love you here, and I hope you have a wonderful trip.
Yeah. And Dahlia is checking in from YouTube. She goes, thanks for the shout out to Lithuania.
Yes. Yeah. Nice to see a port on the itinerary that includes Lithuania. And thanks for being here, Dahlia.
And Suzanne checked in. She was saying that they can see, which is great because you never know what the maps look like because we're kind of seeing a little smaller because we're doing the live stream.
Yeah.
But she says she can see it good. And she goes, looks like there was an overnight in Bergen too.
Now I have to go look at that because I was trying to see where those overnights were. And that was
yeah, it's a little small here.
Iberia to the Northern Lights, right? Or
yeah. I think so.
Yeah, she's right. There's an overnight in Bergen too. It's very hard to see on that map, John. Your map could have been bigger.
So we've also got we'll go back to this here.
Yeah.
And Mike Beloy goes, looks great. Wanted to add our wish list to the Northern Lights. Thanks, Mike, for checking in with us.
Yeah, Mike, you should check that out. It's a nice itinerary.
And yeah, Iris was talking about the solo sailing. And Kathy West is checking in from YouTube. She goes, I have 2 booked, Romantic Danube which is amazing. And the Faroes and Pyramids, November 26th. She loves Viking. So do we.
Yep, so do we. Great choices for itineraries. I'm sure you're going to love it, Kathy.
And Marty's mom, I thought this was your mom. At second, I was like, she goes, Michael is an amazing travel agent. Highly recommend.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
But that's great.
Yes.
So thanks for checking in, Marty's mom.
Being here.
Suzanne says the back-to-backs are amazing.
Yeah, very nice itineraries.
And she just did the Rhine and Viking shores and fjords, Bergen to Basel. Wow, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I was talking about that is back-to-back river and ocean. So very nice itinerary. And the cruise ends in Amsterdam and the cruise begins in Amsterdam. So the guest is able to just get off the river ship and get on the ocean ship. Very nice.
So I have to ask you, is an expert opinion, is it almost too much of a good thing? You have best of both worlds.
Yeah, for sure.
And Stuart Little's checking in from Facebook. So good to see you, Stuart. He says, I want to book the Gems of the Med for January of 2028.
Well, Stuart, luckily, Stuart is also one of my clients. So, Stuart, whenever you're ready, just let us know. We'll get you booked.
Awesome. And hopefully I get your name right, Mrs. Coates. Loved our trip we did. Love to hear more about it. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it from Facebook. And Mike Meloy says, we're looking at a world cruise in 2031. That'd be amazing.
And it sounds like it's so far away, 2031, but it's not.
Now, when actually can they open? When do world cruises become available to book? I know that's a big thing.
It really depends, right? So this one just came out this month, the 27, 28. So, it would probably be 3 years from now that would open. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, Mike's planning, and we appreciate it. Thanks for watching us. And Suzanne said, Michael and his team make you feel like you're the only client. Excellent customer service.
Great. Thank you so much, Suzanne. That is our goal. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And Suzanne says, so true. And Tammy's checking in again. She goes, do you handle Canadian clients? And that's a great question.
Yes, we do handle clients both in the U.S. and Canada. So we can help both.
Yeah. And Suzanne said, Michael just helped us with our air for Auckland and Sydney for the Australia, New Zealand cruise for February 26th. Rough flight. And Michael came through with direct flights. And that's a big thing, right? Where you have, I know we've talked before in the past where you said you've actually seen connections that just weren't ideal because you've traveled so much yourself. You know what is it good and not good, and you want to steer your clients in the right direction, like treat them like family. What can you say to that as far as how you saw something and you made it better?
It is a challenge. I mean, look, the air is a challenge when we're working with contracted rates, which is what we do when we work with Viking. We're working with contracted air. What we end up with for a schedule has to fall within their contracted rate. Many guests don't realize that rate has zero to do with published fare, zero to do with it. It has more to do with the fare code and not with the fare pricing. So the cruise line is able to purchase certain tickets at certain fare codes. If it's not available under that fare code, then it doesn't fall under their contracted rate. Again, not related directly to published rates. So that is the frustrating part, I think, for most guests, is that they go online and they see, oh, this schedule is the same price as this schedule. But the truth is that the cruise line is getting it at a fare code that is not unpublished, not on the website. So, and whether or not they can get that or not is really, it's subjective. So what we do is we really help the guests figure out the best way to get there under the contracted rate. And the Grady's case, it just took time for us to figure out the best way to get them there and show Viking where we could find those flights under the contracted fare to get them the direct flights. It is not always possible to get the direct. It is one of the biggest challenges that we have. In all honesty, Viking's Air does offer a good value in most cases. In other words, the guest is getting it for a lower price or a better price. And so there is some trade-off for that. The trade-off is that we have to do it under their contracted rate. Viking's goal really is to get them there within one connection of what they would normally be able to get on their own. So keep in mind that if they can get their direct on their own under a different cost, obviously, then the cruise line's goal is to get them there with one connection. And so it's really important to explain to the guests that the air, there is a trade-off to the value that Viking offers. Included in that value is being able to get them there if there's a problem with the flights. It includes the transfers. It has the services of the Viking Air team if there's a problem. That is all part of what comes with that Viking value. That may have value to some guests and not have value to others. So that's something we have to help them determine. But what we do is help them find the best possible schedule available under that contracted rate.
And we've talked about in the past live streams about you recommend your clients use Viking Air Plus. Is that correct?
Yes, we highly recommend the Air Plus. It allows us to do just what I was talking about and trying to find, the best flights available under the contracted rate.
Okay, excellent. And we'll go back to the questions, and thanks for sharing that. Karen from YouTube says, Michael is very responsive. I've sent several friends to his company and all have been very pleased with his company. Outstanding travel agent.
Wow. I mean, this is like a paid endorsement almost.
Yeah.
But I just want to point out, nobody's getting paid for these.
Yeah, we need to put a disclaimer at the bottom. None of these.
I mean, these are just guests who have happened to see this video and, the live stream and join. So thank you, Karen, so much for that endorsement. I really appreciate it. It is, again, something we work very hard to do. My team and I work very hard to make sure that we're responsive and that we handle your questions and concerns in a timely manner and make sure you have the best possible trip. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, and Iris is saying that very informative. I did France and loved it. Of course, you advertise that more solos are going, and that's for sure. I mean, there's even groups on the internet now just talked about solos, for all different cruise lines and even Viking and so on and so forth. And people talk within our group. Let's see. So Suzanne said, with more flexibility to travel, does Viking ever have any last minute deals for unsold cabins? And I know we've talked about that in the past.
Yeah, a lot of these quote unquote free air offers that you see from Viking, they are on these last minute sailings. So as we've talked about before, they don't like to disparage their pricing model. So they don't want to, heavily discount the cruise itself. So what they do a lot of times is offer free air on sailings that may have some cabins available that they're trying to move. So yes, absolutely, there are some last minute deals. They are fewer and further between than we used to see. I know there's a lot of discussion about people getting move over offers because ships are oversold, not undersold. So we have to keep that in mind. But yes, there are definitely deals for guests that are flexible that may have something closer in. And when we say closer in for Viking, that means within the next 6 months. Usually, because their sell-through is much further out. They sell much further in advance. So, there definitely are some deals.
And the sell-through is because the demand is so high for their product right now. Is that correct?
I think the demand is high. We've talked about the past 3 years coming off of COVID and how high the demand is. But I do think also that Viking they're master marketers. So, I mean, I know everybody I talk to is like, oh, I got 4 catalogs today. I got 4 brochures in the mail. Things like that. And that is part of their marketing program, right? I mean, if you get 4, you're probably going to look at one of them. So
it must be working, I'm thinking, right?
Something's working. So the demand is high because they've created a demand. I think they're just master marketers. I think that's something they're really good at. There are many things they're good at. That's one of the things they're very good at. So yes, they tend to sell very far in advance.
Okay, awesome. Go on to the next one. Don over YouTube says, for Scandinavia cruises, is there a better month to travel given May through August?
I think July and August are probably the best times in Scandinavia. I would say July because Europe is on vacation in August, so that kind of is going to increase your crowds. So I would say June, July, probably the better time. Okay,
and Jenny from Facebook is checking in. She goes, we love working with Michael and are looking for our next 3 upcoming. Looking forward to our next 3 upcoming cruises. That's amazing.
Thanks, Jenny. We love working with you too. And thank you for being here and letting us help you with your cruises and trusting us with that. We really appreciate it.
And Mike Malloy is back from Facebook. He goes, when is your next accompanied tour, Michael? That's a great question because Michael posts these wonderful photos and makes me really jealous because I'm thinking I need to be there, right?
So I do escort some of our clients on groups 2 to 3 times a year. And it's funny that you should ask, Mike. I'm leaving tomorrow to take 50 guests on a safari in Africa. So we have it split into 2 groups because these groups are smaller. But yes, we are going on a 12-day South Africa safari with 50 of my favorite clients. So we're looking forward to that.
Well, I want to get on that list. So that's incredible. And so we'll go back to the questions here. Pat from YouTube says, it's Pat in Chicago. Hello, Pat, back to you. And Vikingers reduce single supplements. You just need to find them, she says. And they schedule meetups and lunches for their single travelers.
Yeah, and this is Pat. Pat is also one of our clients, and thanks for being here, Pat. She is a solo traveler who we are very grateful to help every time she goes on a trip. And she's 100% right. Well, they do not really cater to single guests. They do have events on board for solo travelers, which is really important. They have meet and greets and cocktail hours and things like that. And it's a nice thing for the solo guest. So thanks for sharing that, Pat. It's an important point to make.
And Karen from Facebook is checking in. She goes, Michael, what itinerary do you recommend to see the Northern Lights?
I really like the one that we just talked about, right? It's offered in January, which is the repositioning, because it will give you some more things to see besides just Norway. But In Search of the Northern Lights is really the best itinerary, in addition to the one we just mentioned. So they're equally as good. The In Search of the Northern Lights obviously is the more popular one because it runs several sailings during that season to see the Northern Lights. But either of these two would be a good choice.
Okay, awesome. And Karen, she had a follow-up. She says, I've done some research, and here there is a new itinerary in 2027. Would it be this one here?
Yeah, I think that's the one that we just showed. Yeah, the from Iberia to the Northern Lights.
Excellent. Okay, appreciate that. We'll go back to this. And okay, Karen asked another question, Michael, from YouTube. She goes, the new India cruise booked up so quickly. Any idea if they've added additional cruises? Also, several of the China cruises have not opened up for 26, 27. Any news on those? Great question.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, that India sailings, they sold super quick, as you said. I don't know what they will do to open that, if they plan to add another ship, or if we're just going to have to wait for them to open more sailings for the next season. But they did sell out like in 4 days. And then they opened up a few additional sailings, which also sold out very, very quickly. So interesting itinerary. I think the demand is definitely there for them to maybe look at adding another ship. So they are masters when it comes to that. So I am certain that we will see more offerings for India.
Yeah, they seem very responsive. If they see something that's doing very well, they want to make their guests and clients happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Marcia's checking in from Facebook. She was heading to South America and Antarctica on the Polaris in 6 weeks. Thanks, Michael, for your help. And I love those ships.
Yeah, the Antarctica ships, the expedition ships are really, really unique, really nice. Marcia, thanks for the shout out and for being here. I know you're going to love that trip. Those ships, 340 passengers, really nice itineraries. But the ship itself is just unbelievable, with the Zodiacs and the submarines and the Swiss operations boats. I mean, it is probably the most technically advanced ship in Antarctica for guests that are doing expedition. I think that's really, really nice. And then we have guests that are doing it from the Arctic to the Antarctic, or vice versa. So what we call the longitudinal world cruise, those ships are on the Great Lakes. They're in Canada and New England. Really, really nice experiences. If you've not experienced just one of the expedition ships, it's absolutely something you need to put on your list. And there are several different places that you can do to experience them.
Yeah, so that's wonderful. And Carol Perkins is checking in from YouTube. She goes, while I was on a recent cruise, Michael took the time to call me to clarify a concern I had emailed him about regarding our return flight. Great customer service.
Thank you so much, Carol. I really appreciate it. And I was glad to do so. So thank you so much for the shout out.
Yeah. And Julie is checking in from Facebook. She goes, do you think more dates in 2027 will be open for the Amalfi, Africa, and Iberia new itinerary?
It's possible that maybe later 27 might have some more dates, but I'm not certain about that.
Yeah. And M. Walsh is checking in from YouTube. She goes, looking into NA, what is Eastern Seaboard Explorer like? Not sure what they're saying. Later dates cost more. Is that because of the fall colors?
This is a great question. I think he means North America, looking into
Okay.
what is the Eastern Seaboard Explorer like? Really nice itinerary, great opportunity to see the fall foliage. And yes, the dates that are, going to be more apt to see the changing of the leaves are going to be more expensive. So it is definitely because of the fall colors.
And Ginny is checking in from Facebook. She goes, can you recommend insurance company for cancel for any reason before sailing? Can you recommend an insurance company for cancel for any reason? We had to cancel our cruise on the Vesta in July 7th or July 7 days, before sailing. Our insurance payment was only, not even close to what price we paid. So I know we've talked about, we've actually had whole live streams just on insurance where we covered some of these unique questions and problems. And we've talked about how you've gotten calls in the middle of the night and had amazingly, unfortunately, tragic and sad things have even happened, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, look, insurance is as you said, it's a whole new segment that we could do. Cancel for any reason. I know the Viking policy offers cancel for any reason with the future cruise credit. Most cancel for any reason policies have to be taken within 14 days of deposit in order to provide coverage for the cancel for any reason, or what we call CFAR. In order to have the CFAR coverage, you would have to purchase that policy within 14 days. So if you're outside of that window, it's unlikely that you'd be able to find a policy that would provide cancel for any reason. We offer a third-party policy through Allianz that's unique to us. In other words, it is a proprietary policy. You cannot purchase directly from them. That policy does not provide cancel for any reason. However, most of the time when guests tell me they want to have cancel for any reason protection, and I ask them what reason they're concerned about canceling for, it's usually a covered reason.
Yeah.
It's really important, I think, to not just go on the internet and find a policy and purchase it. I think that you need to work with a travel agent that you purchased your cruise from or your trip from and speak with them about travel insurance. And an educated travel agent is going to be able to help you determine the best policy for you and what will work best for you and your specific situation. There are other policies that would provide coverage, but it's really going to depend on your specific situation, when you purchase the cruise, what you're looking to cover, that kind of thing. So it sounds like a lot of the chatter that we see online about insurance is about annual policies, and I feel very strongly that an annual policy is not sufficient coverage for most guests. Annual policies typically will cover $5,000 a person, up to $20,000 to $30,000 per year. So in other words, 4 to 5 trips a year at that rate. If you're buying cruises that are $10,000 and paying another $5,000 for the air, you're only covering a third or less than a third of your actual cost on those trips. And the other coverages are also very weak as well. The annual policies are really written for business travelers that are looking to cover multiple airline tickets throughout the year. That's why they're called the executive plan, the junior executive plan, things like that. I equate them really to the policies that you get for free with your credit card company. They're very similar in what they cover. So we feel strongly that you should have an individual policy for each trip. If your trip cost exceeds $35,000 or $5,000 a person, you really need to have an individual policy.
Right. Great answer there. And Quinn Taylor is checking in from Facebook. Is this being recorded to be re-aired for those who missed it? And yes, all of our live streams we've done, you can actually see the first one me and Michael did way back in the day. It's been years now where we've done ones all through COVID and we covered many, many topics. We've done some deep dives into river cruising and all over different things. We answered questions. It's been fabulous. And of course, we've really enjoyed doing it. So yeah, go back. You could look at YouTube and just look at the live section, and they're all recorded there. And then of course, we also have them under Cruise Addicts events. You'll see all of them, and videos, in the videos. And we even have shorts and many, many things. You have to scroll back. It's a little clearer on the YouTube side, but yeah, everything's recorded, which is great because you got best of both worlds. And the good thing is many, many, many thousands of people have watched these once they're actually replayed, and people can search for the different keywords. And so these have a life of their own once the live stream is over. So we really enjoy that too. And Stuart Little has a question. Will you be making one of these into a Wanderlust Society trip? Great question.
Yeah, great question. Thanks, Stuart. I'm not really sure yet. We have released some of our dates for 27, and we're working on 28. So I'm not certain, but we will see for sure. It's a great question, Stuart. We'd love to have you join it if we do.
And Suzanne she had a great observation. She goes, you need to get an awkward embroidered shirt so your logo looks proper on when it's broadcasted on the TV here.
To me, it looks like it's right, but I can switch it for you, Suzanne. Let me do.
Oh, there we go. That's awesome. Looks perfect now.
Yeah.
Let's get a little live. Let's go zoom in on it. There you go. That looks great. So let's see. Tom is checking in from Facebook. Really looking forward to our Easter Island and Antarctica cruise in November. Air is hard for this one, and Michael has been great at trying to work it out.
Oh, thank you so much, Tom. And John, I'm going to let you pronounce their last name.
Yeah, can't do that one.
Yeah, it's Simpetus. So
Simpetus.
Yes. So anyway,
I knew that. I just held back on you. I wanted you to shine.
Yeah. Thanks for being here, Tom, and thanks for the shout out. You're going to love that Easter Island trip for sure.
And Suzanne said, "Yay!" She loves it that it's been fixed. So so that's awesome. And
yeah, she did ask this question earlier about the China sailings for 2026 and 2027, and I wish I had an answer for you, Karen, but I don't. It's very interesting that those sailings that they offered this year, that ship that is doing it is actually dedicated to the Asian market, and everything on board is in Mandarin. When it's not sailing with American guests, they opened up this window of sailings to do these China itineraries, and I think they were waiting to see how they did before they opened it again. But essentially, they're taking a ship that's there year-round, dedicated to the China market, and they're opening it up for American guests for a certain period of time. And so we hope to see those itineraries again because they have some really nice extensions on them, which I'm sure you probably have seen, where you go see the Terracotta Warriors, things like that. So really nice itineraries. We do hope to see them, but we do not have any info on them as of yet.
Yeah, so wonderful. And Sharon Baker from YouTube says, you've teased this Wanderlust Society trips. You've teased all these people watching. We've got lots of people watching live, and thank you all so much for taking the time this Sunday. So could you? I don't know if you want to keep it secret. I know it's kind of like secret squirrel, right?
Yeah. So there are groups that I escort that I invite my clients to travel with me on, and we do some special events and things like that on board. They are very special trips to me because I plan them myself and all the events and gifts myself. So they are really my favorite things to do. But Sharon, you definitely are on the list. We have, it goes out to my entire database at one point. So we are about to send that out in September. So we would love to have you join us on one. That's
wonderful. Wow. I tell you what, this has been a fabulous live stream. I hope everyone else out there is enjoying it as much as me and Michael have, I'm sure. I think it's perfect when we can share some great information, have this back and forth. So many wonderful guests and friends and clients here. It's really, really fabulous. How can we end this out, Michael? Do you have any final words or advice to your many friends and groups here, clients here?
No, just that I would love to have the opportunity to help anybody that's not currently working with us. I think you'll find that we will provide you with the best service and the best value. And you can reach me at 800-913-7245 or michael@planmycruise.com.
Well, that's wonderful. What a great ending. I hope everyone has a happy Sunday, the rest of your day here. And thank you so much for taking the time to join me and Michael. And we can't wait till we see you all again. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks, John. Have a good Sunday.
You too. Bye-bye.
Hey.